very special segment now with the show, continuing our talk about video games. We have a special guest joining us. He is our first ever fan reviewer on geekswholikesports.com. He reviewed DayZ on Xbox One for us. It is Casey Ewasko. Casey, how are you, sir?
I am doing fantastic. And before we start, I'm going to go ahead and get this out of my system. I'm going to look at the screen and look at your faces because I don't want to spend the whole time you're talking to me looking down. So I'm going to be looking at the camera now. So let me get that out of the way. Okay.
Don't worry, I still
remember
make that,
this face.
I still make the problem. I still look at the screen sometimes more than the camera half the time. It's a habit. It is what it is. But it's okay. Welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on. So for those of you who don't know, this is something we started on the site, kind of reaching out to the community, our great Geeks Who Like Sports community. And we want to start hearing from you guys about your opinions of games. Obviously, I've done many reviews over the past decade, but it's always fun to see what other people think and how they can verbalize their opinions on reviews. And so Casey, you reviewed DayZ, which it's actually an older game. It came out originally in 2013, but now it's been ported to all the systems and it's on Xbox One now. I think it's part of the Xbox Games Pass. So tell the people a little bit about what you thought about this game and why you picked this game to do the fan review for.
Okay, so I picked this game because I was looking for something different to get into. With the pandemic and being kind of locked down, I really stretched the legs on the Xbox Game Pass to see what I could really get my money's worth out of it. And I've been watching and following DayZ for a while, even before that with Arma. Decided to give it a shot because it was on the Game Pass. It was no money out of my pocket per se for the game. So getting into it, it was a lot of fun being able to try something that I've been watching for so long because I don't do the PC thing. It's just a personal choice. I respect that, but I wanted to try the console version just to see what it was like, and then it kind of gave me the idea. So I should talk to this about, let my friends know about it. So that's kind of how this started. Was I wanted to try it out, and then my struggles and tribulations through all this, and how I could convey that to help someone else that might be doing the same thing I am, picking up a new game with not a lot of knowledge about it.
Yeah, you mentioned Arma 2, which is actually it started off as a mod for Arma 2. For those of you who don't know, this is when people or developers go out and they take an existing game's framework and basically tweak it into almost a whole new game. It's how PUBG started, PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, and obviously really launched the Battle Royale genre. But this is obviously an open world hardcore survival game.
Yes.
I would say more survival than horror, but obviously there are zombies, so there's a little bit of that horror element. But really, Casey, as you found out, aren't the real monsters other players?
Most definitely. I would say probably 98%, and maybe even that 2% that you think's friendly, they're still thinking about taking you out.
Yeah, you know what's amazing? I loved reading your review, which, by the way, is on geekswholikesports.com. If anybody would like, we obviously implore all you to read it. I love when reading your review because you even say in there like, yeah, the zombies are great, but man, people will backstab you in this game. And I'm thinking like, oh, so it is like a real world game. What's funny about the game, this is the question I have to ask. Okay, so one of the things that kind of like ruined The Walking Dead for me was when I realized early on in the show, and again, I know the comic book, but I thought the show might take a different route. I learned early on in the show, like, this thing's not ending. Like, they're not going to end this thing. And then they started going down to, like, the people are the villains, right? Which was kind of cool. But, 42 seasons later, I'm like, yeah, I just want it to end. Now, you're living that in the game. The game is the living embodiment of that. So
yeah.
Does it get exhausting always having to look over your back? Or is that what makes this game great?
It does, but I feel like you're picking this game up looking for that type of edge to begin with, and it's funny because like when you first start playing, you're super aware or trying to be aware of everything going on. You're super hyper paranoid, but then as you get the flow of the game and you're playing along, you kind of let your guard down, and that's usually when you get got by a bear, a bunch of zombies, another player. It's that rush that most of us compete in games or play games or some type of adrenaline feed. That's what it is for me anyway. So like I'm picking this game up knowing that's what I'm getting myself into.
Yeah, I could totally see that too. And like I said, it's an interesting content. That's like, you guys know my personality. That's not something I want to do, but I really do get the appeal of it. I really understand like how a group of people. I love that. Yeah, you keep your guard down. That's when the bear shows up. Apparently the bears. It's not just the zombies in this game. They shouldn't really. It shouldn't be called DayZ, which just sounds like I'm saying Jay-Z on the air all the time. By the way, they should just called it. We're screwed. That would have been a better name for it.
Yeah.
I think people would have played that. But again, I'm gonna defer back to Ray. Ray is the professional gamer and game reviewer on here, so he has some in-depth questions. I'm sure he wants to ask you.
Sure.
I can't wait to watch your reaction.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, with a survival game like this, having to inventory management, obviously making sure you get that stuff. Talk about the real in-depth survival aspects and like really, what you have to do to survive in this game. There's a real sense of realism to here.
Yes.
You don't usually see. It's a zombie simulation, as I like to put it, right? Like zombie apocalypse simulation. So, tell us a bit about that. What you had to do to survive while playing.
So the way the game starts off is you're just spawned on the shore of this random place, and already you have things going against you. You have there's an apple icon and a water bottle icon in your bottom right of your HUD, and they say it's hydration and food levels, but I call that's your starvation and dehydration, because those are going down as soon as you begin your life on the shore. And your first goal has to be find food, find water, and get inland, because
so it's like Link's Awakening.
You could say that, maybe a stretch, but
just minus the zombies, open world, and other people, but
so
it's the same game.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect example. So I mean, before you can even worry about defending yourself against zombies, you have your food and your water are already against you. So you're already in that mode of like, I have to find something to eat, something to drink, and oh great, now it's raining. So when it rains, your character gets wet, your gear gets wet, then you get cold, you die. I spent so many times dying in the beginning of this game just trying to get myself inland, which is like the end game, but not really. But if you're off the shore, you're already in a good spot.
Wow.
That's incredible.
So definitely having to how hard is it to get inland? It sounds easier than it is. Like, tell us I imagine at some point you did make it inland. Tell us about that journey to how you got inland, at least for the first time.
Okay, so the first time that I got in, it was after many times of dying of a gamut of reasons, being hungry, food, water, all that stuff. Finally get in, start finding weapons, make it to a military checkpoint, found some military gear. I was able to get some weapons, and then I got attacked. So my first time getting inland away from the shore, I was getting attacked by at least 10 zombies. I'm stuck in a garage, and I used a VoIP, which is to speak to someone that's in your area, because I heard another player. And he ended up being friendly and saved me, and I saved him in a way too, because I had bandages and he didn't have any, and he killed the rest of the zombies for me. So that was my first time getting inland, as I met another player, and it didn't end the way I thought it would, because usually you get bopped by people, but this time, my first time in, I met someone friendly that helped me make it another day or two into the game.
Nice. So like you said, not everybody's a jerk. Most
Correct.
of them are jerks, but there's a couple. Yeah.
And that was the last time, Casey.
Yeah, that was pretty much the last time, definitely. But it actually was the last time. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what's amazing is, again, for those of you listening, again, the way we're doing the rankings on these games, we're using a different scale. It's not just 0 to 10. We're using a scale. Like for this one, it's Batman villains, right? And each villain has obviously a different numerical number. Very fitting. This game got, I'm not going to tell you, but it is fitting. So if you want to see what this game got, you have to head over to the website. It is Batman villains, and all I will tell you is the villain that happened to go with the number that Casey gave the game is I mean, you guys were all great. It's the perfect villain for this game. Let's see if you could figure that out. See, now you have to go check it out. I know what I'm doing. We're going to link it to this episode. Don't worry. No, don't say you're not going to do it. This is like the game now. I got to fight you all. Anyway, sorry, Ray, that was my comic relief. Back to you.
Yeah, no, but I was going to say, so like, what were some of what were some of the things that detracted from the game? What were some of the things that really caused you real gripes and really kind of stuck in your craw when it came to what this game offered and your general experience?
Yeah, so definitely the first thing that's right out the gate is the huge learning curve that you have to deal with. Not just with the game itself when you actually get there, it's getting there that was the other problem for me. So when you begin the game, it's like there's very limited selection of where you're going, not too much in the way of telling you where to go. And then there's a server list. So if you've played with PC, you might be aware of how server lists go, but that's not typically the architecture for an Xbox game or a console game. So the first time I picked it up and I got to a server and decided to hop off, I didn't remember the server number. So then I spawned somewhere completely different. And then it's when I realized that it uses a persistence on the servers, and you have to remember why or what server you went into. And they don't say how important that is. If you're a big fan of continuity and making sure you're still in the same place when you come back, you have to remember that. And I didn't know that for a little while. That's why I did my own research. But a simple prompt on the screen would have helped with that.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising that, they didn't give players that are playing it on console a heads up, because typically I think they do on the PC version, but it's kind of like if you're playing on console, you're probably not as aware of what the PC version is. Because I'm like you, I'm a console guy first, right? Like I'll occasionally play on PC, and I respect for the most. I have a problem about any group of people that calls themselves the master race.
Yeah.
So PC master race people.
Me too.
Yeah. We're not fans of that. So I'm a console guy. But there's definitely I think more of a learning curve if you're not coming over, because I don't know a lot of people who would play on PC and then play on Xbox. So I could definitely see how that would be a problem. What else? Was there anything else that really kind of stuck at you? And tell us a little bit more about the zombies. What were the zombies like? Were they fast zombies? Were they slow zombies? Were they what kind of zombies are we talking about here?
So, I mean, if you poke the bear enough, per se, like you're going to get messed up pretty good. So you can avoid them. It is possible to avoid them. You can do the quiet route. You can take a couple out with like melee weapons. If you pop your gun off, though, and there's enough around, you're going to get swarmed. And I don't care how good you are. You have a 40-round magazine in an M4. Those 40 rounds go quick, and you have to reload magazines that you hope to God that you put bullets in, because that's the other thing. You have to put each round into each magazine and have them in your inventory. So you could think you're good, but then you throw a magazine that has like 2 rounds in it. Now you're getting whooped by 8 different zombies. And then the next lucky player who heard all the sounds going on for those gunshots, he's going to come over and grab all your cool stuff. So
it really is real. I mean, this is
gotta
like
respect
a real-life
it.
thing. Yeah.
I mean, you can mess around with it a little bit, but know that there are repercussions for your actions.
So, Casey, really quick, most important question. What kind of player are you in this game? Are you someone who backstabs someone and takes their stuff, or are you the good guy?
So the way that I usually go about it is if I find myself on the shore and I'm geared out with all kinds of good stuff, and I see a fresh spawn, someone that's in the very obvious starting clothes or doesn't look like they have a lot of stuff, I won't mess with them. I might go over and talk to them, maybe put them in handcuffs, ask them where they're going. If they seem cool, then I'll give them some food and let them on their way. But if I see a fully kitted player that I don't know somewhere in the same area that I am, they're going down, because I know they're going to do the same to me.
Oh, wow. Okay, so important question for the people watching this right now. Again, please go read Casey's full review on geekshwhoLikesports.com.
Yes.
Is this a definitely must get it, check it out, or is this a no need to go?
I would definitely check it out with the thumbs up.
There you go.
All right.
That's this one.
There you go. Yeah. So there you go. Like Lee said, geekswhoLikesports.com. Check it out. Casey, thank you so much for coming on the show today and talking to us about DayZ, and hopefully we'll hear some more fan reviews from you and from others in the community going forward.
First fan review, huh?
Yeah.
There you go. Great work, Casey.
Thank you
job.
for having me, guys. I appreciate it. And one last thing is I want to throw this up here because we got
okay. We're good. All right, we're good. That's enough.
What's that you got there, Casey? I like
we're
it.
multiplying. You got to deal with another Philly fan.
Oh gosh, it's worse than the zombies.
I'm just gonna start right now.
Okay, that's enough. On to our next segment. Thank you again, Casey, so much for coming on, dude. We really do appreciate it.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.